So I have that all in the video.
Hey, hey,
What?
Greg, come here.
Wait, you gonna film me or not? You're such a dumbass. You got the camera pointed at the ground.
Come on, hey. All right, take two. Take two.
What you looking at?
Oh,
man?
hey, Greg,
What?
come here. I want to show you something.
I'm enjoying the view.
I don't care. That is a beautiful view.
Yeah.
I don't care. Get over here.
Jesus.
I want to show you this.
What do you want to show me?
This is pretty cool. Check this out. See those springs right in there? Talk about those springs right there. You see those springs?
What's the big deal?
I don't want to talk about those springs. However, you come over here and you look at those springs.
Holy shit.
Hey, Rob,
Yeah, John.
what you got going on here, man?
I don't know. What are you doing?
Well, I'm looking at the stock springs. This is on Wayne's
You
machine.
must be talking about my new spring kit.
Oh, you
Just added after Newfoundland.
got a new spring kit?
Absolutely.
That's pretty slick, man. Wow.
So that is from Schmidty Racing. Did a lot of research. Schmidty Racing was the one that stood out above everybody else. They have a private label deal with Swift Springs. And if you do any searching about Swift Springs on the internet, they're all over the place. They do all kinds of heavy duty racing stuff, bouncers, all kinds of stuff. So the process was pretty cool. They have you fill out a form, and then they talk to you on the phone, ask you a bunch of questions. You fill out weights, rider weight, passenger weight, weights in the back, what kind of riding you do. Just pretty thorough. And then they set the springs for you. Load them, the preload and all that stuff.
So they
comes.
they put them on also for you?
No.
Oh, okay.
They send them to you with. They take the measurements and the information you gave them, and they set it based on where you ride and the weights that you put in the machine. And you put the. I had my dealer when I was doing the clutch work, the service, Yamaha's clutch work service. I just gave them the springs and they put them on for me.
Right.
So this is the first trip out for them. And like John said, if you look at the big difference here, if you look at the stock springs, like on Wayne's machine, the top spring is at ride height compressed all the way. So basically, when you get the stock machine, that's not really doing anything for your suspension.
So you're talking about this spring up top here?
Yep.
This one up here. Okay.
So I'm not sure, like I said, did all the reviews. Everybody raved about the ride quality you get out of this, having a spring kit. The other thing this does is these springs are more heavy duty than the stock ones. And, we just got back from Newfoundland. When we overland, I probably had 500-600 pounds in the bed. Me and one of my sons, which, I'm 300. My big son's 300. The other one's 2 something. So we had it fully loaded with gear, and it squatted the machine. Well, this is set up where I can adjust the preload when we overland to add more preload and be able to handle the extra load.
And I'm noticing, looking at the back side, and I imagine we're going to see it in the front too, you're probably, I don't know, 3 inches taller? The body.
Yeah, something like that. Wayne measured. What did we get on the back end?
I think it was 3 on the back, 4 on the front.
So it didn't raise, you didn't gain any ground clearance.
No, you gained ground clearance about 3 inches on the back and about 4 inches in the front.
Well, but not from there.
No, from the middle, and then on the sides, before I put anything in it. Right now it's loaded with stuff for the ride today, but when we first brought it home, we measured on the sides. I picked up 4 inches of ground clearance. Now you can see that it's settled a little bit from what you guys had saw before we started the video, but it's settled a little bit now that I got
because of the weight.
Yeah. And I drove it. I drove it a little bit. So.
Well, you can still see the difference in the A-arms there. I mean, the angle, Wayne's and mine, we're almost flat. I mean, and you have a definite.
And then if you look at the roof lines, we all the same machines.
Yeah.
And the roof lines obviously higher, and you can tell when you're getting in. The one thing I could tell is when I was loading this box up. This thing used to be about down to here. I mean, I would come up and my belt would hit this, and I could load stuff on there. And it was easy to reach this. Before I put the load in, I had to get a step ladder to get in there and put stuff in the bottom of that box.
I was going to say, now if you were to do this to your machine, you'd need a step stool or something to get in the back.
I got one. I carry one in the truck.
Okay.
He'd be golden. Of course, while we were out, Sheets, who had installed the spring,
Yeah.
we were out at Sheets, who installed the spring kit for Rob. They tried to convince me to buy a new RMAX.
Oh, did they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nate said there's tons of them in the back warehouse.
Ready to go.
Oh, ready to go. Yeah.
Had to put some repelling gear on the inside so they can get back out.
Yeah.
Well, just one
One
other
of
thing.
them roll ladders.
Right.
Yeah.
One other thing, we should have said this off the get-go, but we're not sponsored by Schmidty Racing. They didn't give us any money. I paid for those. This is just a review of stuff we're doing to our machines. So
Yep.
shout out to Schmidty Racing, but they didn't give us anything. We paid for it. I paid for it.
So what's the front look like when you're talking about the back? Are the fronts the same?
Same thing. Heavy-duty springs.
This is our cue to go around front.
Yeah.
The tender spring is.
Wait a minute, get out of front.
So again, ground clearance, I could see the difference. And if you
Oh,
look
absolutely.
At the other two machines,
Yeah.
you know, it's arched more. In the middle, there's more ground clearance. I'll get
Where
out
you
of your
going?
way.
No, I want you in there.
Oh, I was going to get those.
We're supposed to be filming you.
Well, so look at John.
I got it.
It's almost flat across, and then
I mean, the bottom line, when you're looking at the airs down here, even the springs look heavy duty. I mean, the springs, they look, I don't know what the diameter is, but they're thicker than the stock ones. By
yeah,
a little
this,
bit.
like I said, if you go on the internet and you search Swift springs, that's kind of what sold me when I was looking at Schmidty and a couple other companies. The thing that topped it for Schmidty was, you know, they went away from the springs they had before and signed a private deal with Swift to have springs made for their company. It's a little family-owned business.
Now you said these are fully adjustable,
Now,
but
yeah, so you can adjust the preload on these,
okay.
and there's all kinds of technical stuff in it. Some of it I don't even understand. But the guy that did the install for me is a road racer by trade. Works at Sheets Motorsports, and he's pretty knowledgeable about it. He's never done like an RMAX or a UTV that you go on trails. They do primarily farm equipment like Kawasaki mules.
Mhm.
So they've done spring kits before and added stuff, but it wasn't something like this that we're going to try to get performance out of. They went for putting stuff on where like farmers or somebody carrying heavy loads,
Gotcha.
which is kind of what we do. But
So everyday UTVs.
yeah,
Yeah. Work ones.
so he was pretty interested in the Schmidty Racing. He had never heard of them. Obviously, coming from road racing, that's a whole different thing. But suspension and road racing is important. So you know he was familiar with it, but he went through everything, and he was talking way above my head.
So for the folks that have no real world experience and being able to adjust these springs, that questionnaire that you filled out in advance, and along with the phone calls to their representatives, they actually preset them based on your requirements.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So they ask you all kinds of questions, and they preset it for.
Preset.
Yes.
So in theory, it's ready to go. You don't have to make any adjustments to it now.
No, the only thing
It's
they
ready
said
to
I
go.
might have to adjust depending on how much load I put on it for when we go to overlanding.
Okay.
You know, it depends on where we go. Like when we went to Newfoundland, this thing was loaded because we had to carry everything with us. There was no going back to trucks or a cabin or whatever. So I had everything on it.
Yeah.
Now, when we go to Idaho, well, I'll probably have even heavier on here just because now we know how to pack. I got a bigger rack coming for the back, which we'll talk about later. A bigger top, which
Well,
I can haul. I'll probably haul a spare tire, which will be more weight because we're out in the middle of nowhere in Idaho. Newfoundland, we could find, if we had a flat, we could find a town that had dealers or something to get.
Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they're all over the island because they're so popular there. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We should do a follow-up. All I did, rode around the neighborhood and drove it on the trailer to come here.
See how it
This
feels.
is the first trip out.
So they're Swifts. What are they?
Swift Springs, and it's Schmidty Racing. And the number one reason why I got it, or two reasons: better ride quality, and then be able to put heavier loads on the machine when we overland.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
So it's a perfect place to try it out here at Hatfield McCoy's.
Right here in West Virginia.
Wait, what is it? Mate
Double-
what?
Matewan.
Matewan.
Devil's Backbone ATV Resort.
Okay.
Great place.
Any last requests? He's got them new springs on there, so he's getting cocky.
Okay, Rob. Day one under your belt with your new suspension, or at least your new springs. So what'd you think?
Good choice so far.
Yeah.
What differences did you notice from the old springs to the new springs?
Number one thing, when you're going over those hills and the wheelbase, the back end would buck all the time.
Yeah.
Or you'd bottom out on stuff.
Like on the whoop-dees?
Never happened. Nothing.
So you say it just kind of glides straight over it.
So-
You could feel the front end take the dip, and the back end just rode right through it, squatted right down, rode through it.
So if I got this right, that's part of the preload on that spring.
It's part of the whole thing. So the tender springs up top are doing work now. No, don't ask me because I don't know enough about the shocks. I just know that the way that's set up, now that the springs are like they are and you got the preload and stuff like that, compared to the stock springs, they're compressed. So they really don't. The only time them things really work is if you completely extend the whole
Then they
wheel.
extend out, and then
they work. Where this is, these are working all the time.
Uh-huh.
So that number one, I'm sold on. Number two, I think the ride felt, normally I would feel like kind of beat up or tired from all that trail riding we did. I don't feel like that. So
how about sway on curves? Sometimes you'll feel, like you're turning left, but you'll feel a
no
little
roll, no body roll.
no
whatsoever.
body roll at all.
Nope.
It just tames all that down.
Yeah. And I hung back from guys and just, hit the throttle to see what it'd do around corners and stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed too is, and I don't know if this is because of the springs, but all those switchbacks and stuff, it seemed like I was able to just hammer the throttle and whip right around. Where before I was worried about, the body roll and
Tail end.
Yeah.
Moving out from out behind you.
didn't see any of that.
Wow.
No, it has settled a little bit from when we first got it, which I thought it would.
Sure.
But it's still,
You're still pretty tall.
the ground clearance
It's
is still
settling
there.
in right now, though.
Yeah,
So
it's we'll see. I mean, it's first ride. And of course, I want it to be good because I spent money on it. But
sure.
I instantly felt the whoop thing. That's, and it'll be interesting to see when we go back to trails that we've ridden before, like Mines and Meadows.
Right.
It's like, and,
Yeah.
and
See
you'd
what
have
it
to slow
does.
up. Yeah.
What sound did it make?
Yeah, that.